You ever get that feeling that life is leading you down a path you just don't understand? A crisis hits, you lose something important, and it feels like your whole world is just falling apart. But what if every single one of those challenges, every unexpected detour, actually had a hidden purpose? Well, let's dive into that. We've all been there, right? In those moments of pain or just total confusion, it's the first question that pops into our heads. In this explainer, we're going to dig into some core Buddhist teachings that offer a perspective that might just completely change how you see that question. All right, so first up, let's tackle suffering. The big idea here isn't to think of it as some kind of punishment, but to actually reframe it, to see it as a teacher, just one that's in disguise. Our first instinct when we're hurting is to resist it, right? To push that feeling away and just wish things would go back to normal. But this perspective suggests that fighting the pain only makes it stronger. It only gives it more power. The real path to wisdom is to actually observe it, to get curious about it, and to understand what it's trying to show us. There's this fantastic old story that illustrates this so perfectly. A disciple is complaining to his master about how unfair his life is, how much pain he's in. The master listens patiently and then asks him to do something strange. Put a handful of salt into a glass of water and then drink it. So the disciple does it. He takes one sip and immediately just recoils. It's awful. The salt is totally overwhelming, making the water completely undrinkable. See, the bitterness fills his entire perception because the container, the glass, is so small. Okay, so next, the master leads the disciple over to a huge, beautiful lake nearby. He tells him to do the exact same thing. Take the same handful of salt, but this time, throw it into this vast body of water. After the disciple tosses the salt in, the master says, "Now, drink from the lake." And this time, the disciple drinks. And he smiles. He can't taste the salt at all. The water is just fresh and pure. Now think about that. The amount of salt was exactly the same, but the experience was completely different. And this is the whole point of the story. The suffering in your life, that's the salt. Its bitterness doesn't come from the salt itself, but from the size of the container you put it in. When our world shrinks and we're focused only on our pain, it consumes us. But when we expand our perspective, when we see that our pain is just one small part of a vast lake of life, its bitterness just dissolves. Okay, so if suffering is a teacher, then what about chaos? Those times when life feels totally out of control, like it's spinning off its axis? Well, this next section suggests those moments are actually the secret ingredient for growth. I mean, think about it. When everything's easy and comfortable, we tend to get, well, kind of stagnant. We stay safe, we avoid risks. But it's the crises, the moments that shake us right down to our core, that force us to wake up, to question everything, and ultimately to transform. This idea is captured so beautifully in another little parable. A man is watching a butterfly, struggling, and I mean really struggling, to break out of its cocoon. He feels sorry for it, and his heart goes out to the little creature, so he decides to help. He carefully tears the cocoon open to make its escape easier. But his act of kindness had this devastating consequence. The butterfly emerged, sure, but it was frail. Its body was swollen. Its wings were all shriveled up and underdeveloped. It was free from the cocoon, but it would never, ever be able to fly. See, what the man didn't realize is that the butterfly needed that struggle. The intense effort of pushing through that tiny opening is nature's way of forcing fluid from its body into its wings, which is what makes them strong enough for flight. The lesson for us? Life's resistance isn't there to break us. It's there to build the exact strength we need to finally soar. So if suffering is our teacher and chaos is our catalyst for growth, it kind of makes you wonder, is there some kind of order behind it all? This brings us to a beautiful concept called dharma. The idea that even in what looks like total chaos, there's a quiet, perfect, invisible flow. You can think of dharma as the grammar of the universe. It's this deep, natural law that suggests nothing happens by chance, not a single thing. Every event, every person you meet, every challenge you face, it's all happening at the perfect time for a very specific reason, part of a cosmic balance we might not be able to see in the moment. Imagine a guy caught in a raging storm at sea. His first instinct is to fight, right? To thrash against the waves, to struggle with every ounce of his energy to stay afloat. But the more he fights, the more exhausted he gets, and the faster he sinks. It's only when he finally gives up the fight, when he just lets go and allows himself to float, that he makes an incredible discovery. The current was already carrying him back to shore the whole time. Trusting in this flow, in Dharma, isn't about being passive and doing nothing. It's about stopping our desperate resistance and learning how to navigate with the current, not against it. And trusting that flow, just like the man in the water, leads us right to our next practical and frankly life-changing idea: the profound freedom of simply letting go. Here is where so much of our struggle comes from. On one side, you've got us, humans. We want meticulous plans. We crave certainty. We have these rigid expectations. And on the other side, you've got life itself, which is all about constant change, inevitable uncertainty, and necessary adaptation. So much of our anxiety comes from trying to force the flowing river of life into the tiny, rigid box of our plans. And this means that real freedom, it isn't found in finally getting control over every outcome. It's found in doing our absolute best and then releasing our white-knuckle grip on the result. It's trusting not that life will always go our way, but trusting in ourselves, trusting that we have the strength and resilience to handle it, no matter which way it goes. Okay, let's bring all of this home. How do we take these huge, powerful ideas and actually turn them into a practical path for our own lives? What does our own journey toward awakening look like?
The next time you're facing a challenge, big or small, try this. First, just stop. Take a breath. Don't immediately try to fight the feeling. Then, start shifting your perspective by asking different questions. Instead of "why is this happening to me?" try asking, "what can I learn from this?" This simple switch moves you from being a victim to being a student. It empowers you to find the lesson hidden inside the hardship.
And that, right there, is the entire mindset shift. It's a total game changer. When we really adopt this perspective, life begins to transform. Obstacles become teachers, roadblocks become stepping stones. Suddenly, challenges aren't happening to you anymore. They're happening for you, actively shaping you into the person you were always meant to become. So I'll leave you with this final thought to really reflect on. Looking at your life right now, the good, the bad, the confusing, what is the universe, what is your own life trying to teach you in this very moment? Because the answer just might be the start of your next great awakening.